sometimes we're afraid of something that we're more afraid of the thing than it is scary. In other words, we might be afraid of deprivation, annihilation, shame, abandonment, rejection, but that fear itself is worse than the feeling itself. So when we actually complete the circuit and we feel the deprivation, annihilation, shame, abandonment, rejection, and we stop feeling the fear, we feel the fear, and then we continue into the feeling. That's where a lot of our healing comes from. And I learned, so I was workshopping this in 12-step meeting, and I was thinking about how I lost like this interest, desire, which when we repress our desires, they lead to obsession. When we repress our interest, it leads to desire. So this power struggle of giving, when we give up control, it's like when we lose our interest, whether it's substances, food, alcohol, drugs of any kind, sex for people, gambling, it doesn't matter what. When we see the life around us, the fullness and the blessings, instead of focusing on what's missing, whether it's whatever might feel missing or whatever we might feel lonely in or lack. Let's say we feel like there's not enough effort coming in, or accountability or generosity or comfort or repair or presence or clarity from somewhere on the outside. And sometimes we might go to an object or a person where we feel like it should bring us that, and it's not enough. So then the person will want even more from that thing, and that's how we build tolerance from addiction. And so I was thinking about it with a person, how it's like when we fall out of love with an addiction, it's like the thing kind of fell out of love with us. Like, let's say someone stopped smoking cigarettes. It feels like the cigarette stopped performing what it was supposed to perform. And so the person now maybe is able to start performing without the cigarette. Let's say we're using somebody as a coping mechanism. We could start coping without the person. So for example, let's say people go into addiction with objects and substances because they couldn't connect with a person. Let's say someone eats their feelings or doesn't eat because of their feelings. So it would be this idea that, let's say I was thinking with a person, it's like, let's say there's intrigue, potential, validation, idealizing. That's like the excitement, the hook. And then could be that like we lose that, but there wasn't really love there. So then a kind person might wait for the person to stop being interested, to fall out of love. Meanwhile, a person who maybe was also using the other person wouldn't wait for that. So the fear of something, our lives are orchestrated in such a way that we don't have to be afraid of it, because now we get to feel it. So let's say we feel rejected by something that doesn't work for an addiction anymore. The truth is that we're actually becoming more whole. It's it's a maturity. So we became more mature. We're not like needing a security blanket or a pacifier, or like like kids in their bouncy thing before they learn how to walk, they're holding on, and then eventually they can walk themselves. So I was in a master class from Mila Schneiderman called River of Change, and we were thinking about how Hashem is us, God is us. So there's oneness. So when we start to treat everything as a part of us, even let's say that object or that substance, but let's say a person also, we put out love and respect only, or even a bug. We put out love and respect and acceptance. It's how we relate to ourselves. So if I'm one with Hashem, then that means that if I'm only putting out love, acceptance, and respect, then I'll only get back love, acceptance, and respect. If I'm being genuine and kind and grateful, then I'm going to get back genuine, kind gratitude. It's just won't happen immediately, because I might still be getting versions of me now from my past. So it's a way to set up a better future for myself. And I think I read something online, I don't know the source, but it said what a privilege it is to grow into the person that I used to need as a child. And I thought, imagine when we grow into highly mature people, we are actually growing into the person that other people also needed when they were a child. So not only do we become the parent for ourselves that we needed when we were a child, but also we grow into the person that other people needed when they were a child. The Princeton Review is an Instagram account. It says, what are 12 traits of a highly mature person? 1, emotional granularity. This is precise identification of affective states. This, for example, would be like saying, like, I feel frustrated rather than I'm so angry. Someone says, I feel frustrated, or I feel like I'm not being understood. Like, you're able to understand the details. Number 2, self-concept stability. This is a coherent identity that's not destabilized by disagreement. So somebody who could continue to feel that their core self is still there, even when a person is not being agreed with, or they're the only one who has that opinion. Number 3, feedback integration. This is when someone has the capacity to metabolize correlative insight. So somebody says corrective input. Sorry, not correlative insight. Corrective input. So this is when somebody gives a criticism and the person says, okay, maybe it's true. Like I could take it in and adjust. Then we have cognitive flexibility, number 4. This is the willingness to update internal models. So as we say, well, all Jewish people are kind. No, I don't want to use that one. And then we say all adults are kind. And then we say, wait a second, not all adults are kind, perhaps. And then you stop expecting everyone who's Jewish or adult to be kind. Then we have number 5, secure attachment behavior. This is a tolerance for intimacy and autonomy without regulation. So this is for closeness and space. Number 6, distress tolerance, ability to remain regulated under effective strain. 7, boundary clarity. This is when there's direct articulation of limits without hostility. 8, repair-oriented conflict style. This is prioritization of relational repair over dominance. 9, ownership of impact, acknowledgement of behavioral consequences, independent of intent. So this is saying, I'm sorry that I hurt you, rather than, I didn't intend to do anything wrong, or I'm innocent, I'm not saying I'm so highly mature in all of these areas. Sometimes I like to point the finger at someone in my life who's pissing me off. But now I can see that there's actually room for, I think someone's right there, okay. There's room for also seeing myself and some of these where I could grow. Internalized self-worth. This is a stable self-evaluation, contingent on externalized, not contingent on externalized reinforcement. So in other words, there's an evaluation of the self where we actually do evaluate the self and we see that we're not contingent on externalized reinforcement, that others have to say I'm worthy because of this. Number 11, metacognitive awareness. This is when we could actually monitor and evaluate our own thought processes. And 12, adaptive problem solving. We identify solutions effectively under pressure, under complexity or uncertainty. So we're able to pivot and adapt. And I want to share one more thing. This is from Shane Kohler, conscious relationship coach. Says a man unconsciously knows a woman has power over him. Love makes him vulnerable and his desires make him susceptible to seduction. It's this he never wants to feel. To protect himself, he relies on brute strength, stunting his emotional intelligence, but no amount of resistance can change nature. A great man thrives by embracing vulnerability, and a great woman requires this of her man. A conscious man surrenders to the feminine, sacrificing his ability to dominate through force. He opens himself to a higher intuitive wisdom and emotional guidance. A powerful woman calls him forth and leads him into places he could never reach on his own. This is her gift to the man who protects her rather than dominates her. And her gift to the man who protects her rather than dominates her is also a gift to herself and expressing her wholeness, requiring that he honor, protect, and cherish it. An unhealed man is still a little boy inside. Internally, he's rebelling against the ways in which he feels that women have slighted him. Let's think of his mother or previous woman. To protect himself from the intense weakness he experiences in relationship with the feminine, he buys into an unworthy form of masculinity rooted in domination rather than partnership. But his inability to partner with the feminine hinders his greatness, and what he thinks of as strength is really his own weakness in disguise. And we're going to stop here. All the best. Shavua Tov Mevorach. I give myself a blessing for my new husband to come easily and in a way that feels very comfortable and dignified, as I have let go of something that was not working because it felt like forced. It felt like it wasn't mature the most mature version of me wasn't able to thrive, wasn't a partnership. Felt like somebody was just trying to use me, that they want to be wanted while I was not wanted. And I gave my Creator, I gave my Lord an ultimatum, okay, is it going to be like this or not? Do I, will this person, I said, if this happens, I know it's this, and if it doesn't, then no. And it didn't happen. So I know that this one's not for me, and I released it, because I always felt like God was telling me to be a good wife, but then the person wasn't trying to be a good husband. The person was ignoring my calls, ignoring any attempts to repair, hurting me, depriving me, being stingy, never came to see me for 130 days, so finally it was over. So I give myself a blessing that that it's space for something new and better to come in. Where I get to be with someone who I wanted this person to be.